everyone, I'm Claire.
And I'm Mrs Claus.
Mrs Claus is with us today at the National Space Centre to make sure we're all ready for the holiday season. Most importantly, our small space day.
Yes, Claire, I'm here to help you spread Christmas joy.
And what better way to spread Christmas joy than by making our very own snowstorm in a jar?
Oh, that sounds exciting.
And learning all about snow in space.
Fantastic.
Let's go. So to make our own snowstorm in a jar, we're going to need a jar, some white paint, some baby oil, some Alka-Seltzer tablets, a spoon and some water.
Excellent.
But instead of a jar today, we're going to be using a beaker, and you can use whatever you like at home. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, Mrs Claus, is mix our paint and our water together.
Of course.
So you can pour some water into our beaker for me, and I will squirt some paint in.
Here we go.
That should be enough. Only need a little bit of
Fabulous.
water.
Oh, look at
Got
that.
a bit of paint in there, and if you do the honours of mixing it together for me.
Of course.
We'll see.
Oh, look at that. It's looking like snow already.
It's a bit. So the next thing we need to do, Mrs Claus, is pour our baby oil into that beaker, but not all the way to the top.
Not all the way.
Not all the
Okay.
way.
How's that looking?
That's looking excellent. Perfect. The last thing we need to do is add our Alka-Seltzer tablet. So I'll break this up. Give
Oh,
you one
thank
piece.
you
If you
very
break it up a
much.
little bit more
Break it up
into little
okay.
pieces. And break it up as many pieces as you like.
Mhm.
I've made quite a mess.
Oh, it's quite all right, Claire.
And then, when you've broken them up, what you need to do is add it into our beaker. So I'll let you go
How
first.
exciting. Here we go.
And watch
Oh,
the reaction
Oh.
happen.
oh, look at this.
The water is denser than the oil, so sinks to the bottom. The oil and water are immiscible, so won't mix together and will remain separate. Alka-Seltzer has sodium bicarbonate and citric acid in it. When those mix with water, they form bubbles of carbon dioxide, which rise up to the surface through the oil. When the carbon dioxide is released into the air, the remaining water sinks down to the bottom.
So just those 3 simple steps and you can have your own snowstorm in a jar.
Oh, fantastic.
But you don't just have to use white, you can use different colours as well.
But Claire, all the snow in the North Pole is white.
Well, there is actually snow out there in space. So Mrs Claus, why don't you fill up our other beakers here with different colours in, and I'll explain why that happens.
Okay, well, I hope it's not yellow snow.
No, Mrs Claus, it's not yellow snow. It's not snow like it is on Earth. Our neighbouring planet Mars is definitely cold enough for snow, with an average temperature of minus 60 degrees Celsius. Mars has ice caps at its poles, made up of carbon dioxide as well as water ice. Snow has been detected falling from clouds far above the surface, but because Mars's atmosphere is so thin, around 100 times thinner than Earth's, snow falls very slowly. The snow vaporises before hitting the ground, so no making snowmen on Mars. Dwarf planet Pluto has mountains capped with methane ice. It also has a famous heart made out of nitrogen ice. But space snow mainly happens on the moons of other planets. Saturn's moon Enceladus shoots water vapour into space, where it freezes and falls back to its surface. Jupiter's moon Io ejects sulphur into space, where it again freezes and falls back to the surface as sulphur snowflakes. At minus 235 degrees Celsius, Triton is the coldest known object in the solar system. Triton is so cold that most of its nitrogen is condensed as frost, making it the only satellite in the solar system known to have a surface made mainly of nitrogen ice. So maybe aliens are having snowball fights out there in space.
So there really is snow out there in space. Well, I can't wait to go home and tell Santa and all of the elves about it.
Well, before you go back home, should we give these a whirl?
Oh, yes, I'd love to.
Let's. So, Mrs Claus, do you think we're all ready for Christmas?
Oh, I most certainly do, Claire.
Excellent. I hope you all enjoy making your snowstorms in a jar at home and back in the North Pole.
Of course.
Merry Christmas, everyone!